Bernard Tobin. He is our Eastern correspondent for RealAgriculture.com. And we are talking about the horse racing industry in Ontario this morning. And we're talking about some changes and some shakeups going on there. What do you see maybe happening? Who are the winners and losers of kind of the April 1st of 2013? How might what might the fallout be here?
Well, a couple of things. What's the motivation here? The motivation here is money. In Ontario, we're in tough spots. There's a $13 billion deficit. The McGuinty government is pretty desperate for cash. And the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Association basically said, we can make you some more money if you let us take these slots out of these racetracks, bring them into the city, build a casino into more urban areas, and we'll give you some more money. We can make you more money. And the McGuinty government said, hey, that probably makes sense. Let's do it. Not thinking the ramifications of taking those slots out of the racetracks, 20 to 30,000 jobs, rural infrastructure, $2 billion a year in economic activity in rural Ontario, putting it all on the line for more money. And so, the McGuinty government basically said, we can't subsidize horse racing anymore. So it became, this became their mantra that to justify it. But of course, so then you get to say who wins here. Well, this is not a subsidy. It's always been a partnership. You use our facilities, and all those type of things. We get a cut of the piece of the action. Mr. McGuinty said they can't support that anymore. Well, if he doesn't go into business with the racetracks, he's going to have to go into business with someone else. And that is the casino interests from Nevada, people like Larry Tannenbaum buying up bingo halls. And guess what? They're not going to do it for free. The government doesn't want to spend any money, and the reality is they want the casino interests to come in and do it all. So horse racing now takes 20% of the cost. These guys are not going to build casinos and invest all this money unless they get 40% of the cost. Right. So to say that Mr. McGuinty is going to save money is rather disingenuous. Yeah. And if you do the math.
Yeah,
if you do the math. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, are there places for these slots to go? I mean, recently some casinos have they're not doing well. There aren't any new ones being built right now, although there are plans and all these sorts of things of these, so-called things supposed to happen. But they're certainly not ready and certainly won't be ready by April 1st. So is it even realistic that, as of April 1st, all these slots will just have a home other than the racetracks? Really?
Yeah, well, that's the challenge. I mean, right now, the answer is no. There's not likely to be a home for a lot of these slots. The government said, they need to sort of, as I say, these casinos' interests need to come in. They need to go through public consultation. There may be referendums. Again, people have to say that they want this. Yeah. Torontonians have to say that they want this in their community. Yeah. So you could be up to 1 to 2 years before you even get through a referendum or consultation process. So come March 31st, the OLG really has, in many cases, no place to go with these slots. So unless the government's willing to give up that revenue and shut these things down until they get something new, they're going to end up staying at the racetracks. And the racetracks probably got some leverage here to say, okay, guys, let's talk, let's negotiate, or get these things the hell out of here, and we'll throw them out in the parking lot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. So now, and that's, I guess, the interesting thing is that while this partnership is set to end, and that is going to happen, what things look like going forward is still unclear. And realistically, at least some of the racetracks may very well be in a good position to perhaps set up new partnerships or new agreements. But it's my understanding those would essentially be racetrack by racetrack then. Is that fair?
What I think is happening here is a couple of things. The government had a report issued a couple of weeks ago by a panel that they appointed. And a couple of members were John Snowden, the former cabinet minister, Elmer Buchanan, the former agriculture minister in Ontario. And basically what they did, they said, it's very good. The government can't walk away from this. Mm-hmm. There's 20 to 30,000 jobs, $2 billion in economic activity. There's 13,000 racehorses that will have no reason to exist. So you're potentially looking at systematic execution, extermination, euthanization of 13,000 horses.
Yeah.
So Mr. McGinty, the panel could not tell Mr. McGinty to reverse his decision on the slots. He couldn't, they can't do that. But they basically backed them into a little bit of a corner where they had to come to the race industry now and say, okay, guys, maybe we should talk and try to figure out a path forward. Because I don't think Mr. McGinty wants to have the, Premier Dad wants to have the blood on his hands, shall we say, of 13,000 racehorses. And the more you look at it, this province needs jobs. 20 to 30,000 jobs displaced in rural Ontario doesn't make much sense.
No, not at all.
So where does it go from here? I think there's that was a good report for the industry. I think you're going to see both of them back at the table. There may be some people looking at the whites of each other's eyes and playing chicken here because I think some of the racetracks are in a good position, and the government is not in that good of a position, especially if they want this revenue to continue.
Yeah, and it is significant revenue, and that's just it. This isn't just a cost of the government paying the racetracks this amount. It's that the racetracks are collecting a pool of money and keeping 25% of it, but the government then would have to replace that other 75% that they've been collecting at the racetrack. So it's a partnership. It's not a subsidy. So
it's not a subsidy. I just say that's a business partnership. And the question a lot of people are asking is, Mr. McGinty making a decision here? Does he want to go into business with the people of rural Ontario, his constituents, or and create that economy and support that economy that is horse racing, or does he want to go into business with casino interests in Nevada and watch that money get funneled south into some other pockets?
Other pockets. All right, so it'll be it's going to be an interesting winter, I guess, of some of these discussions. So we'll keep tabs and
the last to think about is, I guess the horse racing industry is still on pins and needles. People need to know what's going to happen for this industry, or if they want owners to invest in horses. The yearling sales are upon us, and that's the key. If owners don't have confidence to buy yearlings this September and October, the whole thing starts to crumble. There's no support for breeders. Trainers have no horses to train. The whole house of cards starts to crumble. So we really need to hear some positive or some direction from the government shortly. The industry really needs that.
Some direction for sure. Okay, thank you, Bernard. We shall talk again soon on this.
Yes, lots of things will happen.
Yes, all right.